If you're a business owner based off emotions, the whole entire company starts to collapse. Sat both you guys down, and I wasn't the nicest. I was laying into you guys, and that's a different person than I am now. You will walk in the office and there's so much stress on you. Make sure that you're making money. You got to make sure you're getting deals. There might be family stuff going on. It's on a therapy session, right? All that time I was carrying that weight for really no reason. You feel good because you're distracting yourself, but then the moments of silence get heavy, so then you work more. Will you keep going against the will of what you feel to grow your business? Now, if you only do that, so this episode is going to be a little bit different. We might get a little bit deeper than maybe intended.
Right.
No notes, by the way, on this one, just
Free
off
flowing.
the dome. But personally, been dealing with some stuff personally and actually in coaching. So when I got into coaching, I kind of was just like excited. I think that's about every single process. You're excited about helping people. And, I went through all these different things. I want to help people. I'm going to help people grow their business. What I wasn't accounting for was carrying the weight of my students and getting reminders of the weight that they're carrying currently, because I feel like I'm years in advance. Like what they're going through is what I went through 5 years, 10 years ago.
Right.
And now I'm out of it. It feels like, oh, it's all there. But then sometimes it resurfaces when you actually see them going through it. You look at their faces, you look at like how much they're carrying. So to give kind of context, this episode is going to be around the topic of business owners carrying weight that sometimes contradicts what they really should be carrying in their business. What I mean by that is if you're a business owner based off emotions, the whole entire company starts to collapse, right? So you kind of like will go through this process where you will walk in the office and there's so much stress on you. You have to make sure that you're making money so you can pay your employees. You got to make sure you're getting deals. There's things underneath the curtain that people don't realize, where it's like there might be family stuff going on. There might be things that nobody really needs to know about it. As like you, the owner, you're not going to vent yourself. It's on a therapy session, right? And so sometimes I remember when I walked into the office, I was carrying so much weight, but I knew you were coming in and my employees were coming in, and I couldn't show it, right? Because it's like, why would I? We have a job to do. I can't really be myself. Over time, that starts to just like weigh on a person. And I've noticed that with the strongest people are carrying the most weight. And then when they get home, sometimes they don't have the support system. A lot of them are single.
Right.
A lot of them, don't have the best relationship with their wife. It's the reason why it's very interesting that a lot of CEOs, successful people have been through multiple marriages, right? And I started realizing like, oh, this is so much deeper than just the topic of like, it's hard to run a business, right? When you want to be successful in business, you do the things that would be successful, which a lot of times mean I want to scream, I want to yell, I want to get angry. But the right way in business is actually go to the person and help them. Hey, what can I do for you? Serve, right?
Right.
But over time, then all of a sudden you're driving home and you're then thinking like, who is that person for me? Right. And so that's the cool thing. I think it's a blessing and a curse in coaching for me, because I wish I didn't feel so much. I sometimes wish I was more of a sociopath, where it's like I didn't feel these emotions, where it was just, but I carry the weight of my students and I process them. I don't like them suffering. Let me ask you this. So you've been with me for now, what,
6 years?
6 years, right? You've seen different types of Jareds. You've seen different business owners. I mean, you've seen me lay into you. You've seen me be there for you. You've seen all of it, right? What do you think has been the most clear thing that you've seen me grow as a leader in terms of like stability of the actual company?
I think the biggest thing would be, and I'm not saying you're emotional by any means, but like your reactions over time, I feel are controlled emotionally despite what's going on the outside. I would never say that you are rude to me or, angry and yelling, but just based off the conversations that we've had, I can see how now it's very unemotional in a healthy way. Like, okay, I need to separate like what's going on and what is business.
Well, let's
you
be
know?
fair though. I want you to get the real stuff. We're getting real today, Jay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's open this up. I think it was year one. You went on a shoot. Me and Megan took a vacation to Mammoth. The shoot didn't go how I wanted to go. I got a call from the client. The client wasn't very happy. It wasn't your fault. It was, we won't mention the name, but it was another person that was in the company at the time's fault. And I remember I sat both of you guys down and I wasn't the nicest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, let's talk about that experience because like, I want to get into like where my mindset really was in that experience, but I was not nice. I was laying into you guys. My voice was loud. So let's get into that because that was a few months into you working for me and that's a different person I am now. So like, let's talk about that, Jared. And then I'll talk about why that happened and what I was coming from. And then let's talk about how I now use that situation. If I could go back in time and do it again, how I would do it. So give that story.
Yeah. So I think, well, it was, I think the first time you went on vacation since I had started working and, the tone was definitely set like, hey, we're going, let's make sure everything is taken care of. Like, I just want to enjoy it. You guys, you know what you're supposed to do. Here's what they want. Execute on it. And so I don't remember exactly what happened at the shoot, but the client was upset by the end of it. And from my perspective, all I understood was Jared's on vacation. Something went wrong. I am new, but like in my head, I know I'm capable and I know I could probably have tried to avoid it somehow, but I didn't have the experience then. So from my perspective, it was like, oh, I kind of deserve this. Like, yeah, we dropped the ball, even though maybe it wasn't my fault, but could I have done something different? That's my head into it. So, which is probably why I don't look back at that situation very much. Like, oh my gosh, like he was coming at me so hard. I was kind of like, okay, I messed up. Like, this new job, there's expectations of me, and we let those expectations down. And I always go into a situation where this is kind of just like my personality. Like, even if I'm not the one in charge or the one who has the most experience, I still feel a need to voice my opinion. So who knows in that situation if I could have reacted different. But yeah, coming back from your vacation and something went wrong and a client's upset, like, clearly you're upset for that because you made it clear when I first started, like, you're going to take the blows. You're going to take the responsibility because that's what you do as a business owner. So even though you could say, hey, my so-and-so person didn't do the job, you took it on the chin. It was your responsibility. So that's commendable. But then how you, I guess, reacted towards us was where it could have used improvement.
Well, and that's where I want to get into because the way you took it, by the way, was phenomenal. The other person that will leave nameless, it wasn't. It was an argument. It was a fight back and forth, right? It was, and so I look at that moment and do you see how I reacted the way that I felt, not what should have been productive?
Right. Yeah.
And that is the weight of a business owner. Because it was funny when I told you guys, like, look, we're on a vacation. I don't want any problems. You guys got this. Like, the whole time I was in my head on the trip with Megan, just being like, something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Something's going to go wrong. Something's going to go wrong. And so I was so fearful. And then all of a sudden, right when I got the text, I'm like, I knew it. Right? Do you see how I elevated?
Yeah.
And now it's like, gosh, I'm all over. Right. Again, my IQ then drops because I'm so stressed and like it's just all of a sudden I'm just like, gosh, I just want to get this anger out. Like, I knew I should never have outsourced this. I should have never blah blah. Right? What am I really saying there? I'm scared. I'm fearful.
Yeah.
Right. I'm fearful that this is going to ruin everything.
Right.
The whole business going down because one client's mad at us. Right.
It's not necessarily that you're upset so much in the moment, but you can see 2-3 steps ahead. This is going to cause this, is going to cause this. And now what?
And a lot of that, those steps are almost just like fabrications, right? Real.
Exactly.
Like one client being mad at us, like, okay, how many clients are out there? Like that's a part of business. Like, you can't make everybody happy. Right. You try your best. It doesn't mean it's an excuse.
Even a perfectly executed shoot, they still may be upset.
There's not one business that, like, you could have the best business that's ran the best. There's going to be customers and clients that are not happy, right? But again, as a young entrepreneur, I'm trying to be perfect, right? My standard is I want perfection
Right.
at all things. But the cost of that is when something goes wrong, you start to then, oh, we suck. We gotta get better. We start to downplay ourselves. We start to
Mm.
like really just all of a sudden make a one problem, three, four, five, six
Right.
problems, right? And so then when I sat you guys down, and mind you, this was days later and I was still frustrated, right? So all
Right.
that time I was carrying that weight for really no reason, right? It was an issue. Yes. Can we solve it? Yes. Do we need to carry the weight that long? No.
Mm.
And so when I sat you guys down and I started doing that, the interesting part about it is if I could do it now, I would still not hold the emotions, even if the client comes with emotions like, oh,
Right.
Jared, this is awful, blah, blah. I wouldn't hold that anymore. It's not mine to hold. You know,
Right.
I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do the right job for
Yep.
them, right? I don't need to hold that emotion though. It's already done. Okay,
Yeah.
let's not make one problem two problems. So hey, you know what? I'm going to fix this and being calm for the client as well. Hey, we're going to fix this. I'm sorry this happened. This is not our standard. You can be as mad as you need to be, but we're going to fix this,
Yeah.
right? And all of a sudden, usually at times it de-escalates the situation. And then the client's like, okay, thank you. Because they just need to vent to they're mad because from
Right.
their standpoint, this was a real estate agent, by the way. She got a call from her client that wasn't happy. So then she's doing the same thing. So you see how the pattern is there?
Yeah.
And so then now I learned that later where it's like, okay, well then I should have sat down with you guys and be like, guys, what went on? Because when I elevate you guys get elevated.
Right.
And now it's not productive. It becomes defensive.
Right.
Right. And so all those things about learning, and I had to go through that so many times, dude, where I just started realizing like, wait a minute, every time I'm getting angry and mad, it's not becoming productive. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
When I challenge clients, and even though they might be in the wrong, it is always worse after.
Right.
Versus just being calm, monotoned, and just like, there's not there. So I started actually learning that from the opposite side. I hired a few VA agencies. I hired other clients for like different businesses, different things.
Yeah.
And they would mess up so much on my product. And I would call their customer support person and they were just monotoned. And it actually de-escalated me. And I realized I was like, okay, what they just did was so powerful because like, if they fought me, it would have been worse.
Yeah.
But since I was like, you're only getting mad for so long and all of a sudden you're like, this guy's not reacting. It's like, okay, right?
Yeah,
like it's a mirror.
Yeah.
So like if you look at the mirror and it's you're mad and that mirror's mad, you're just going back and forth, right? But if you look at the mirror and the mirror actually is just sitting there like this smiling.
What are you gonna do?
You're just like,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, right. And so like that took me so many years. And I don't think I would have learned that skill set. But now there's a part that not many people talk about. I was able to vent. But the venting was carried too long. I held the energy for too long where it was so much weight. I don't think you should do that. But the venting part, I don't think you should vent to your employees. And so if I could do it again, the reason why my mentors are so valuable to me, because I do need to call somebody. That's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to say, I want to go on vacation, and all of a sudden it goes wrong.
Yeah.
What does that teach you? I don't ever want to go on vacation again.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the right
do it
move.
all myself.
And so that's why you need to call mentors and people that are higher level that, would be like, Jared, this is not a big deal. We got this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's just like, okay, you know what?
And I think there's two parts to that. I think having a person who's business centered, like a mentor that you can talk to, hey, this is my business problem. And then having someone emotional. And sometimes the mentor is both.
Yes.
But also having someone like, a wife or a partner, like having an emotional side to vent to, like, this made me feel, inadequate, like I didn't do the right thing, or I have to do all this myself. A mentor can answer some of those questions, but there's an emotional connection that you might have with a partner who can help with that vent.
And I like how you separated that because if we could dive deeper into that, it's what I see with a lot of successful entrepreneurs, meaning people that make a lot of money. They tend to pick a wife or a partner that's a yes person. And then what happens is they don't get that deepness of it, right? Because they're like, hot blonde girl doesn't understand. I'm going through a multi-billion-dollar business. She doesn't understand my problems. So I'm not just going to vent to vent. And so I think also the higher level you are, the more you realize that you need somebody that actually understand, had been through it. Because one of the, it's funny, when I was going through the situation with one time we almost lost everything. I called you in Arizona. I'm like, Jake, if we don't make this much money in 3 months, we're out of business. And you're like, okay, let's get to work. It was very stressful. A lot of weight, a lot of spiraling, a lot of tears, a lot of just like fear of the unknown, a really bad spot to be in where it just feels heavy. Your breath is heavy. You keep working, but then when you're working, you feel good because you're distracting yourself. But then the moments of silence get heavy, so then you work more. I call one of my mentors, and I'm telling him these things. I'm venting. This happening, and this happens. This happened. This happened. I'm talking fast. So I'm doing all these different things, and all of a sudden I stop, and then he gives me silence, and he goes, "Jared, let me tell you something." I'm like, what? He's like, if you're not getting sued every single week, you're not a big enough business. I was like, okay, all right, right. So what he just did was, I thought I was at the ceiling of my problems,
Right.
and then he just blew that ceiling open.
Right.
It was like, you really want to be this guy? I'm getting sued almost every other day.
Right.
You see me freaking out? So AKA what he said to me was like, I've been through what you're going through times 1,000, and I've proven that it could be okay.
Yeah.
And just that little statement, I noticed with successful people, you don't need to give them 99, 100% of it. You got to give them 1%. You got to just tell them like, hey, it's going to be okay. You got to smile a little bit. You got to make a joke out of some things. You got to just lighten the mood a little bit, because what that does is it regulates their nervous system. We just got to get you back to working on the present. What can you control? Sometimes you can't control anything. What can you control? If you read any business biography, you read any business book, you go through any type of story with a successful entrepreneur, always there is horrible, horrible situations. Horrible. Like worse than anybody else going through. And I see that the younger entrepreneurs, they always think their issues are the hardest and the worst. And this goes across everything. It's really interesting, Jake, actually. Because in real estate, when I got into real estate, the hardest clients I had to deal with were the ones trying to get 1,000 square feet buildings. Oh, they were just like, give me approved, or like this needs to be right, or why isn't this there? Like it was yelling, it was a fear, right? The 1,000,000 square foot people, wire sent. We see that with our clients. We see the clients that we used to do for $500,000. Oh my gosh, if it wasn't perfect, it was just all these different things, right? You see the hiring clients are just like, money sent. Thanks guys, you're awesome, right? Very short, very to the point, right? And so you start looking at that, you're like, well, why? It's like, because it literally is. And I talk to everybody about this. Every lower end client has a mindset of fear. So look at me when I was yelling at you, fear driven business. Well, what if, versus if you have the courage to keep going and going and going and doing it and going. And sometimes the going part of it is what we're talking about. It's the venting to people. It's the mentors. I don't think you can get past a certain level if you don't have mentors or people to vent to. So sometimes, like you said, it could be your wife. But it needs to be both. It needs to be a strategy of business, and it also needs to be someone who understands the situation, right? Now, a wife might not always understand the situation. Like Megan doesn't understand high level business like I do at some points, but she understands me. And that's all I need.
Your background,
sometimes.
Your upbringing.
Yes. She doesn't need to understand the strategy. I have other people for that, but she understands like, well, you did this before. You can do it.
Right.
I'm like, you're right. Like I can do it, right? And sometimes that confidence, it's like you don't challenge that. You're like, well, you don't know anything. I could fail, right? It's like, no, like let's go. Let's take a bite of the apple more. Let's just keep going on this thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where I realized that it's the 4 stages of life. Unconsciously incompetent means you don't know what you don't know, right? And that's the fear level where it's like now you get into the consciously incompetent, which means you know what you don't know. That's when it gets frustrating. That's when it's just like, oh, like I don't want to do this.
I know this needs to work.
Yeah, like why isn't it working?
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, and the way you do, you blame everybody else. Employees are horrible. These people are horrible. Those people are horrible. I was on a coaching call with one of my students yesterday, and he hired a really good person in their business that was been working with him for now, I think over a year. And this employee, really good. I jumped on coaching calls with her, really high level, really wanted to learn, very good. He tells me their day, he's like, we're gonna be letting her go. She's not the best fit. And I said, are you sure it's her? Are you sure it's the systems? He's like, no, it's gotta be her. And I was like, do you know that for a fact? And he's like, I'm like, because I'll tell you this, the people that work for me would never work for you guys. And I like hit him. I'm like, because like, bro, like if you were in that business right now, you'd be like, screw this.
Yeah.
Like I have so many other options out there that I can go to. Like I'm not trying to get my skull cracked. I'm not trying to have chaos. I'm not trying to have just like randomly like, okay, go here, go here, go here, go here, right? It's like the person that runs the company's energy is reflecting on the employees that want to work with you. So I said, I don't care about fixing this issue right now. If you want to fire her or keep her, that's not my issue. What I care about is, will the system be able to be fixed later on? Because great people will not work for a bad employer, period. So if your systems are broken, your leadership's broken, and you get the right person, it's easy for you to say like, it's their fault. Oh, they suck, right? Them, right? Great entrepreneurs know that they want to control as much as possible. So you want to get data. So you know what I told him? I said, how are you going to fire her? He's like, we're just going to have a conversation and let her go. I'm like, so it's so low level if you think about it. What do you think I would do?
Figure out, go through the steps. What are the things that I can do before thinking that it's their fault?
Get all the data.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. Go through those steps, get all the data.
Yeah. Let's go through everything else out. Let's go through everything. And then if it's still an employee problem, then I know it's them.
And if I'm still doing that, I don't want to do it from a standpoint of being mad, being angry, just get the situation done. I want to learn from it.
Right.
Meaning, hey, was there something that we did that could have made you do better? Yeah, you guys suck. You guys are this, is that. Now take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't mean that's the actual thing. Again, it could be the wrong person in the right role, right? Yeah. And so if it's the wrong person in the right role, then it's like, okay, well, let's just take the information. Again, if you're emotional with it, and then all of a sudden someone says, you guys just suck. Like, well, screw you, right? You learn nothing from it.
Yeah.
But it's like, why do I suck? Well, you never gave me SOPs. You never gave me a chance.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you look at it from the standpoint of them and you're like, I don't think I actually did give them the great SOPs. Right. My training wasn't actually there, right? And so again, like being a part of an entrepreneur and building a business, it's all about learning as much as possible without being emotional.
Yeah.
But that's what gets into this whole, like, it's easier said than done, because it's like, again, if you don't have these mentors or people you see how you're carrying all this weight and you're kind of, I don't want to say manipulating, but kind of manipulating your emotions to be like, I shouldn't act the way I want to act.
Right.
But that's why, like, I love entrepreneurship too at the same point, because it's always refining you and challenging you to be a better person, even when you don't want to be.
Right.
That's people mistake is like, will you keep going against the will of what you feel to grow your business?
Right.
Now, if you only do that, you lose yourself.
Yeah. You end up with worst case scenario where you make a decision and you don't learn from it if you're too emotional about it.
And there will be a time where the problems that you face, that's why our best quote that me and Megan always say is, it doesn't get easier, you just get better.
Right.
And that's so powerful, because like business hasn't gotten easier by any means, right? It's gotten way harder. I've just gotten way better.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the treadmill yesterday, and people are also like, gosh, like, why do you keep improving? Why do you keep doing these things? I'm like, because Ironman for me, it's choosing hard every single day. I was like on the treadmill yesterday, and my coach was giving me, like, he's trying to kill me on the treadmill. Like, it was literally raining on the treadmill. Like, I was drenched in sweat. It was LT1, LT2 sessions on and off, and just poured, drenched in sweat. And the whole time I'm like, this is every single Tuesday is the hard run. And I know it's always coming. But guess what? It gets easier, not from the level of the pain of the legs or the breathing, but the understanding that, oh, I did this last week.
Yeah.
Oh, I did this for 4 weeks straight. Oh, I've done this for 6 months straight, right? So the confidence grows, even though, like, you kind of always forget. You know, I think you know this with doing Ironmans too. You're like, oh, I've done the first one. The second one's gonna be easier. Then you're in the middle of it. You're like, I forgot how much this sucks, right? Like, I remember in Waco, I was just thinking like, I forgot how much this was horrible. I mean, you saw me in Bass Lake. We were doing Olympic try, right? I'm like, Olympic try, bro? Like, we've done half Ironman. Like, we're good. And like, where was I, bro? You left me in the dust, bro. I'm way back there. So I think like that's the concept, where it's like, if you don't do things consistently, if you don't put yourself in hard situations consistently and have the courage to say, I'm going to get better because it's not going to get easier. I just have to get better.
Yeah.
What I hear a lot of people say, like, well, do I just have to keep getting better? It's like, it's up to you. It's your choice.
Right.
Do you want to make this easier? Because that as you being better, right? And you can take more, right? It's not how much you make, it's how much you carry. I love that quote because like me as a man, I want to be able to carry so much more. I want to be able to carry the load of my whole family to not have to, because in the past it was like, bro, it was like, I'll carry this load if I get recognition. To be a man, to actually get to a point where it's like, I'll carry this load because it's my honor is so much different than recognition because you do something for recognition. Oh, I'll do this because I want to be seen for it. Versus I don't need to be seen for it. But if you do that consistently, it will ruin you. It will bury you. So it's knowing when to say, to be vulnerable. My students, they'll cry in front of me and I do not look at them strange. I literally will tell them like, I want to cry too. Like I want, like this is an emotion that I'm like getting into. That I'm like, this is a lot. Right. And I look at them and I actually get emotional, not from a fake standpoint, from a real standpoint, because for me, it's so shattering that I look at them and I realize that this might be the first situation they've ever had in their life that they were able to be vulnerable. And that's so much weight on a person, whether it's a man or a female, to not feel safe. And that goes back to childhood. That goes back to rewiring from your past. And then all of a sudden, because it's funny, successful people, they live in the failures or they live in the successes. They don't live in the middle. People like to feel like, people like you to be in the middle. Oh, don't do better than me. But also like, if you don't try, you're not really going to fail either. You're just going to stay right in the middle. You're not a threat, right? Entrepreneurs, it's like, dude, it's the extremes, right? It's the we're winning or we're getting our butts kicked, right? Because if you're getting your butt kicked, you're just focused on winning. You're trying to get through the middle as quickly as possible. But sometimes you go too far and all of a sudden, bam, you're back to there. So it's this like weight back and forth. And I think for me, especially what I've learned is, I saw this post on Instagram, which was so telling to me, and I'm gonna just say it out there for people, and I hope that my friends and family are actually watching this. The strangers on my page give me the most love and praise. Family and friends, they're viewers, they're watchers, no support at all, right? So I'm reading Matthew in the Bible right now. And it's Jesus talking in parables and doing all these different things. And the parables were really interesting because he was giving so much wisdom. And he goes to his hometown and he starts giving these parables. And the people in the village are like, who, isn't this the carpenter's brother? Isn't this like, don't we know who he is? How did he get this wisdom? Like, what is he doing? And Jesus says something in there and says, you will get honor from everybody else besides within your household and everybody else. So even he felt it, even he knew it, right? And so I think about that. Now there's families out there that give a lot of support, like some of them right there, but most of them you see are just like blank. I know a lot of friends from my past, nothing. A lot of family, nothing, right? And you think about it and you're like, do you think they're doing it on purpose? I don't think so. Now they're not called to, right? But it's also like, they're hurting, they're going through their own stuff. And to see Jared winning or to see somebody else winning doesn't necessarily feel good for them. Because I've noticed that you say, you'll never find a hater doing worse than you. And I've realized that because people ask me like, well, Jared, why are you so like, why do you give so much love to people? If you see me on like Instagram, like I'm always encouraging people, always, always, always. And I started thinking about that. I'm like, well, why do I do that? It's like, because I felt the pain on the other side. And so again, like when you feel the pain on the other side, it gives you empathy to actually be a better person. And that's why for me, it's like, seek the pain. I won't say seek it, but I would say it's okay. When it happens, it's not the end of your world.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. A great word for it. It's like, for me, it's like, if we embrace our actual pain and we learn from the pain, you don't know what that pain is going to do for your future. All those things I talked to you about in business that were so difficult for me, and I was losing control and I was fearful and I'm mad at Jake and I'm mad at this person, I'm doing all this stuff. I now see in my students. And I'm able to not speak at them. Oh, don't do that, bro. Like, that's not the way to do it. That's not the right, like if you told me back in the past, I would be like, dude, I'm not listening to this guy. Like, what are you talking about? So I would actually like get them to know that like I've been through it too. Guess what? There's another way.
Yeah.
And it's up to you. You see how it's now it's their option?
Right.
Because high level people don't like to be told what to do. That's why they start businesses, because they don't like to be a boss. Like they want to be their own boss. They like to give options though, where they can decide, okay, I got this, this, or this. What do you think I should do?
Yeah.
And sometimes they go back to their
Right.
wiring, right? And then also you got to remind them again. That's why, like for me in coaching, I've learned that there's a difference between being right and being productive. It's really, really powerful that I've understood because I've said the right things. I have all the recordings of my past students. I've said all the right things, right? They didn't take action on those things though. And so I look at that, I'm like, okay, whose fault is that? The simple person would say, well, they're idiots. Right. The immature business owner, oh, they're idiots. They should have followed that. Just like a boss says to an employee, they should have done that. I said it. It was right in front of them. I gave them literally a silver platter. They didn't do it. It's not productive though. So what happened? Oh, I did not articulate it. I didn't deliver it the right way. You give a homeless person something on a silver platter. I don't know if he enjoys it.
Exactly.
Because it's like, it's too high. It's too much for him, right? He's thinking like, what is this now? What's the catch? There's this video of somebody trying to give off gold bricks to people on the side of the road and no one was taking it. Like everybody's like, no. And you're like, dude, like, he's like, why can't I give this away? It's like, because it's too good to be true. And so, but if you give somebody $1 on the street, everybody's taking it.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Thanks, man. Cool. Thank you. Right. And so I've realized that's like being right is different than being productive. And so when you actually understand that, you start to analyze your coaching and you start to need to understand where the person is in their life, if they're running their business and their operation off of fear or off of faith. If it's off of fear, you have to come alongside them and get them into the mindset of faith. Then when they're in the mindset of faith, they're able to actually take on more risk. When they're in fear, they're not able to take on much risk at all because it's so fearful. I don't want to do this, right? Like, do you see how I did it with you with Pass? My first thought in my head, this is why I should never leave. And then what if I leaned into that and I never took vacations again?
Yeah, you don't grow. There's no, you stay in the same spot.
Well, and you'd probably leave too. I'm not here to be micromanaged by this guy. I'm not here to just, have Jared on my shoulder.
Imagine if you're at every single shoot.
Over your shoulder, like, dude, right? Like you'd be gone. And so again, a good person in your company would be gone because of that. Because again, you teach people how to treat you. And so I would then only attract people that would be Robins, not Batmans. And to run a really good business, you need a bunch of Batmans. You need people to be like, that's why for me in the camera stuff, I'm just like, Jake, this is your job. Like, I don't know. I know, but I don't know. Like I look at my footage, I go, shoot, you've been doing this for so long. You're so talented at it that I'm just like, I'd be a fool to then all of a sudden start overstepping my boundaries on this stuff. Right. But again, if I taught you that, no, you're going to be my Robin, I'm going to be Batman. Like, screw you, bro. I'm out of here. Right. So,
So I have a question for you. So you're talking about how as a coach or someone who has gone through the process of these roadblocks and these problems that come up when you're building a business. Jared, back then, how were you able to respond to when mentors gave you advice in a way, you'll see your coaching clients now, they may not listen to you and then they end up in the same spot or a worse spot. Like how did you, or I guess a better question, how did your mentors meet you so that you were able to listen to what they were saying and actually take it in versus saying, oh, I'm going to choose what I want to do?
It's a good question. So in the beginning of my career, I didn't really seek mentors like I do now. I kind of stumbled upon them. And so I'd be like Ryan Blair's house, right? Because I got his mentorship program, but I wasn't mentored by him one-on-one. He invited me and Megan to a private dinner with all like very successful entrepreneurs, very high-level people. And that's where I met Rick Gutman, one of my big mentors, and we just talked and became friends that dinner. Rick actually had a seat next to Ryan, and Rick came over by me and sat next to me, and Ryan's like, you want to be over here? And he's like, the whole time he's like, no, I'll be right here. And I also met Dane there as well. So Dane was across from us. And so it was funny because it was like I met them at the room, and we built a relationship, and I didn't know anything about Rick. Rick actually didn't talk about himself at all. I just knew Rick was a big boy, like just huge. He jacked. I'm just like, this guy's massive. And so we started talking, and I did what I do out of insecurity with my career is like, let's just flatter people and let's make sure they know that I'm legit, right? And Rick has been around the block long enough where he doesn't need to prove anything, right? So he's just listening. Oh wow, cool. And he liked me a lot. It wasn't like he was like, he's just like, oh cool, yeah, let's keep talking. And he was asking questions. He's asking me questions. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the dinner, I realized, guy's a really cool guy, but I learned nothing from him.
Oh,
He learned everything from me, right? And so then I started talking to my buddy Dane, and he's like, "Oh, you don't know Rick? Like Rick's like legit." And I started going on YouTube and looking up who Rick was. I'm just like, "Oh, this guy is like miles above me, right? Like what an idiot I am for literally just talking my little ear off." But he was just there to learn, and he didn't need to be, according to the world. He's always successful. He was one of the biggest multi-level marketing guys, multiple books. I mean, gosh, the guy is just, he's so successful in so many different ways. I don't want to put his private stuff out there, but let's just say the guy is very successful. And so then I reached out to him. I was like, hey, can we go to dinner or lunch? He's like, yeah, come over by me. Like, let's go over to the Ritz-Carlton. We'll have some lunch. And that's when I changed my perspective. And first thing I asked him was, I noticed how you just listened to me the whole time. What's the reason? Because like, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. So I wasn't driving to LA to boast about myself. I was driving to LA to get information from everybody. So I was quiet and I was listening. That was my job there. And then that's when I got to the point where I was like, oh, I have so much to learn from this person. And so that him being so intelligent got me to be like, you ain't who you think you are, Jared. Right.
So the bar got brought way down.
Let's start asking this guy questions and let's retaining it. And he could have, I mean, at that point, I had so much respect for him that he could have told me anything. I would have believed it.
Hey, go do a couple backflips outside.
Done.
And make $1 million.
Done. Oh, let's go. Right. Like, so for me, it's like, that was the difference, was he modeled it. And I've realized that talking at people is different than modeling it. And so I've learned from my students is I can talk. But by me being on Instagram and having a life and I'm living it that they want, they then come back to me for it. And so the modeling is the most important. And so it got me to ask more questions. That's the reason why for me now, I know I have to ask the right questions to people that I know that are modeling what I actually want. That's why I always bring up Rick, and we'll get him on the podcast because I love Rick, not from a standpoint of just business, but just like philosophy, religion, about God, just the way he carries himself, right? Like I call him the buff butterfly, bro, because he's so jacked, but he's just so calm and so calculated, and he chooses words so wisely. What takes me 500 characters takes him 3.
Yeah.
Like he just like, Allison, just like, that's what I needed, right? It's where I get the thing of when you stand up, God sits down, and when you stand up, God sits down. When you sit down, God stands up, right? That was so powerful for me. And that little statement for me was powerful in that moment, but it's kept on evolving over time. Mm-hmm. And that's the cool thing about even seeing in scripture when Jesus talks about it is the words he says, you'll hear the stories, but then all of a sudden you get closer and you go through your journey longer. And all of a sudden you're like, oh no, this story was actually had more layers to it than I thought. The core of it was so detailed, but now I'm starting to understand the branches and the leaves and everything else around it. Right. So the best mentors for me, I've realized, model everything. There's so many mentors out there that are trying to figure out, how do I sound smart?
Right.
I think it's energy. I think it's like, if you're really doing what you say you do, it's almost like this, like people get the most mad when people like call them out because they have insecurity that they're really not that person. So for example, if I went to you and I was just like, bro, you could never do a half Ironman. What's your response to me?
That I can.
Because you've done 2.
Yeah.
So it's like it means nothing to you.
My response is, oh, okay, bro.
It means nothing to you. But then if I hit a more insecure moment for you, right? Where it's like, maybe you never done a half Ironman. Maybe you don't know if you could.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do one. And I just
hey, I don't think, and you're like, I can. You get mad about it, right? Yeah. It's more of like a fear of it. Yeah. And so that's why I've noticed is like confidence comes from preparation and experience. And so that's the reason why, like, I could have gotten into coaching a long time ago. I think that's the model for a lot of people who are weak entrepreneurs is they'll start their business and then they start failing and they say it's just easier for me to be a coach so I can tell people about their problems, not own
Okay.
them.
Right.
I could have been a coach a long time ago, but I chose not to because for me it was like I wanted to make sure I vetted the business and I made sure that I was successful in the business and learned all these different things. Now my information is so valuable to people because I've been through all of it. I've
Right.
been in the game long enough to understand it. It's
Right.
the reason why like I want to start coaching people in Ironman the first 2 or 3 years, right? Now I'm year 5 into it,
Right.
right? And I'm still learning and I'm still not confident that I can coach people at the fullest ability until one of my goals was to make world championship, but the next one is to go top 5 overall
Mhm.
because now I can prove I'd be at the front of the race, right? And so again, for me personally, it's like have the evidence before you actually start teaching people something.
Right.
But at the same time, teaching people something, you retain the information the best. So I don't want to discourage people from teaching people,
Mhm.
um, but be careful what you're teaching them. Because if it's something you haven't ventured on, you don't really know what you're
Yeah.
doing.
You haven't carried the weight of it yet.
Yeah, because if you've seen like the learning pyramid, it's the very top, which you only retain 5%. It's lectures. So you
Mhm.
sitting down and listening to somebody talk. It's
Yep.
the reason why someone can go to like a Tony Robbins seminar or watch a YouTube video and they're fired up and all of a sudden they take no action after,
Yeah.
right? The bottom of the pyramid, which is the base of it, which is 90% retention, is teaching others. Because that really challenges you. Like, do you really know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Right? Can you really teach people what it's about? And that's why, like, for me, it's such a powerful thing because when I walk into a room, I'm never challenged um, by people because like what they see online, they could be thinking like, oh, this guy is not. That's why I'm so excited about this podcast. It's long form. We get to really like get into the
Mhm.
deepness of it, right? And people can kind of manipulate short form stuff. Oh wow, he
100%.
took this. Like I see some people now. What they'll do is you'll see their eyes and they're reading the screen. Like they put in ChatGPT
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're
They
reading
set up a
it.
mic and they're just
Yeah, there's
talking
no
to
like substance though. You
Yeah.
can just tell it's just like, what are they doing? Like it's just a teleprompter reading,
Yeah.
right? For me, it's like put me in a situation and then watch that like I've been through stuff. So you
Right.
can almost see your battle scars and what you've been through
Mhm.
based off of it, right?
I
Yeah.
actually think this is a perfect segue to kind of tie back to the main topic we were talking about earlier, carrying the weight as a business owner. It's like you can show up with confidence and show up with your experience that you have now, or when you first met Rick, like he just shows up with that confidence because he's gone through the experience. He realized that the weight he was carrying, other people have gone through this too. Okay, other people have gone through this too. So when someone comes to you and they're like hot headed and fired up, not fired up in an energetic way, like things are going wrong, like what do I do? What do I do? It's all that weight you're carrying. Someone just comes in and says, "Hey, it'll be okay. You know, I've done this before. Do this step or do this step. It's up to you what move you want to make." And I mean, it's a perfect analogy for Ironman training. I could never run a marathon.
Mm,
And the first time you run like 3 or 4 miles, you're like, I'm going to die. I'm
mm.
going to die. My heart's going to explode out of my chest and I'm going to die because you don't know the capability. Okay, I ran 4 miles and I'm absolutely going to kill myself. How am I ever going to do 5 or 6?
Yeah.
Okay, you just do one more.
Yeah.
You have a coach. Hey, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
You're just going to do a little bit more, a little bit more. Next thing you know, 15 miles, 18 miles, 20 miles, 26.2 miles. Then tack it on at the end of an Ironman.
Then you do a mile every birthday like you do
Yeah.
without anybody
Right?
knowing.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So the thing that comes to my mind about this is what a mentor does for some people is they look at somebody who's carrying all this weight on their back, and including they're carrying a wagon on their back as well, and they're muscling it up, and the
Mhm.
mentor just comes and says, "Hold on, stop," and then they take the wagon off their back and put it on the ground and take all the weight and put it in the wagon, and they say, "Do this," and all of a sudden you're like, right,
Yeah.
like that's the analogy I think about because like it's a better process. You're still walking up this mountain, but it's not you carrying everything on your back.
Right.
It's you figuring out what's the most efficient to get all this stuff up the mountain because you
Right.
have to carry this weight somewhere. It's just how you carry it. That's the most important thing. So that's why mentors are so important to me is there's a better way and the right mentors, like just because people call
Yeah.
themselves mentors, again, like you really got to, there's so much crap out there, man. Like there's so
Mhm.
many coaches and that's why like I buy a lot of courses to kind of see like, are these people legit, And I would say 90% of all these coaches are, you know, kind of just like fake guru guys that
Mhm.
learn they can make a lot of money and charge high ticket. And there's like, oh my gosh, I can do this, bro. Like this guy,
Right.
I see them getting off the phone and being like, I can't believe this guy bought this thing, right? Like, and
Yeah.
it's just like, it's so backwards. For me, still are doing this podcast. Like this podcast is a lot of our time. It's very expensive. I look at the impact it's going to do for people. And so, do you see how I'm not thinking first, like, let's monetize?
Right.
You know, with that said, if you guys ever want to, I'm just kidding, but like, I don't want to monetize these things, right? Where it's like, let's give value first,
Yeah.
and then the money will then come later. If the money doesn't come later, I want to make sure it's at least valuable.
Right.
Then I'll judge that cost and be like, is it worth it?
Mhm.
Well, like if I made zero and it was making people so like better,
right,
I would still do it. Right. Versus the opposite. Some people are like, well, no, I have to do this to pay the bills. This doesn't pay our bills.
And that goes back to foundations. You know, you could go listen to one of the other podcasts we filmed. Like, what is your foundation? What is your why?
Yes. Yeah. And like, that's why like this podcast is like, we don't have topics. We kind of just like share from the gut of just like, this is what I'm going through right now. This is what I'm seeing for my students are talking to me about. This is what my DMs are coming in and people are talking to me about. So like, for me, the main thing is if I have something to talk about a subject people are struggling with, I will do this for free if it means it's helping people, right? And I think the number one thing that we're learning is like vulnerability, making sure people understand that like I don't have all the answers, but I have experience, which could be the answer. But I don't have all the answers for your problem. But you might take this podcast and hear one thing and be like, let me try to apply that. And it might work for you. Right. Or it might not. And that actually might be the lesson that you're learning, where it's like, well, that actually got me to realize it was wrong. But then I tried something else and I got right. Right. Again. So again, like everybody says, like, just do this, just do that, just do this. Everybody's grown up with different environments, different traumas, different parents, different friends, different situations. Like you take somebody that grew up and they were worthless. Nobody wanted them. They came from nothing. And then all of a sudden they started winning later in life. That's a different person than somebody who was winning nonstop early in life and all of a sudden started losing towards life and all of a sudden now keeps going. Right. So again, everybody's journey is different. I think at the end of the day, it's just I just love people. I love where they come from. I love their different expressions and experiences and where they come from. I like to listen to people and see like, what actually makes them tick, what makes them grow. Because bro, it's the coolest thing. Like Iron Man, for example. I didn't get into it because of like this reason of like, oh, I just want to help people. It was selfish. It was I was going through a hard time. I was depressed. I needed something to vent. Next thing you know, we go and do an Ironman, and then you're filling me with our team. And all of a sudden, Megan, after I get done with the race, and I'm humiliated because I didn't hit my PR and I feel embarrassed by you guys, right? And so I'm thinking selfish, right? I'm thinking like, oh, I remember looking at my clock and I remember telling you guys I'm going sub 6. And it was 6 hours hit. And I was like mile like 9. I was like, and I just felt so deflated out there. I'm just like, now I have to run and finish this thing and look at my team and be embarrassed, right? I finished and you guys didn't care at all. You guys were so happy for me.
Yeah.
And actually what happened was then you and Megan were like, we got to do this, dude.
Yeah.
We got to do this, right? Then we go a few months later. Now all 3 of us are on the start line. You then do it, gets you into running for like, cause at the time it's like you were kind of working out, very consistent. Then all of a sudden you're running. Then Megan has a purpose. Then all of a sudden it just trickle effect to everybody else. And so now it's like, I'm not saying that I was the reason, but I was the spark. And then all of a sudden there's people that run because of you now. There's people that do stuff because of Megan. I impact more people. And so it's in the thousands of people. That's a web just because one decision was made. And so it's like, I looked at those things now and I'm like, the courage for you to take on something that is fearful and unknown and learn from it, you don't realize the impact it has and the ripple effect it has on other people. And that's the coolest thing. When you look back and somebody like, I'll get DMs from people I don't know. Like, bro, I started running like my first mile because of you.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and some people, it goes both ways. Some people are just like, gosh, this guy just freaking just keeps posting his workouts, everything else. I don't do it for those people. I do it for the person that's just like,
gets fired up.
Jared can do it. I can do it. Right. Let me try. Let me just see if I can run 1 mile. Right. Yeah. And I get a lot of DMs from them. They'll say these things. Hey, bro, I ran my first mile. I know it's nothing compared to what you do, but I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing. Right. And I throw that stuff out so quickly. It's like, bro, don't act
Don't
like
say
I
that about
wasn't out
yourself.
there my
Yeah,
first
yeah.
mile huffing and puffing. I'm so
Everyone
proud of
starts
you
at
because
0.
that's almost harder than what I'm doing. My body's used to doing this much load
Seriously.
where it's really not that hard. It was really hard running my first 5K, 1 mile. Like that was miserable.
Yeah.
I mean, when I won the 5K in Surf City, bro, puking, just like throwing up everything. It was the hardest race ever. So sometimes the hardest part of the process is starting, not continuing. So I think that pretty much wraps up this podcast. Anything else to wrap it up?
Oh man, I think some of the takeaways are if you're in a season where you have problems and issues, find someone to help
Mm.
because putting all that weight on yourself is only going to dig you deeper and there might be a solution. It's not necessarily going to get easier, but you might have a way to get around it.
Courage. Have the courage to try because it might not work the first time.
Right.
It might not work the second time. Have the courage to keep going. There is answers out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might find the wrong mentor and get burned.
Yeah.
Right. So keep having the courage to keep trying and realize that like every time you get burned, it might be that you're burning away the broken and the dry wood and leaves and things that would actually ignite the force even bigger.
Yeah.
You're refining. Right. So I love to end that on like courage to actually keep trying. But yeah, man, that wraps everything up. Leave comments on like what questions you guys have. Also, like if you guys disagree with things, we'd love to hear about it. Like honestly, for us, like we're here to learn as well as much as possible. I don't even want to say like leave the hate comments. Like I invite the hate comments. Come at us, dude.
Yeah.
Like let us hear it. Anything that helps us increase the algorithm, we are here for. So give us what you guys got. Just make sure it's in English so I can write. I know we can translate in YouTube. So yeah, do everybody in the world come back, baby. Give us all the comments.